Memphis coach Ryan Silverfield got jokes about Georgia and its players and speeding violations that have gone on for years. I didn't know that Ryan Silverfield wanted to smoke like this from Georgia and the SEC. And then I see it is SEC week at Memphis. What's up, kinfolk? It's RJ Young. I am not on a step mill. If this is your first time watching Adapt and Respond, thank you for joining us here. We talk college football year round. If you're into that, go ahead and hit that subscribe button, like this video, and answer the question in the comments below. Did you expect Ryan Silverfield to use his weekly press conference to go at Georgia? Because that's what he did. It's actually pretty entertaining because it's based in fact. And that's where the good jokes come from, right? They take a truth and they spin it to where you get what I really love to do and what I'd say is really the sauce for what I do, which is to give people a fact that they want to argue. And that is what Ryan Silverfield did. The quote is, hey, look, generally on Sunday afternoon, when we meet with the team, we do two things. We always start off with not our standard, always start off with a negative. And not our standard is Georgia wide receiver arrested for 900 miles per hour over the speed limit. That's a weekly occurrence. So that's one we'll show. Yo. Okay. So for those of y'all that are living underneath that particular rock, Georgia over the past 3 years has had some really high profile speeding violations. One where players were racing that resulted in death. And it's really not a fun topic to talk about because A, you're endangering the lives of other people and other and folks on the road. B, you are a football player who is probably making hundreds of thousands, if not millions of dollars to play at Georgia. And now there's lots more eyeballs on you and what you're doing. 3, you don't need to be going that fast to get anywhere. And I realize that racing cars is fun, but they got professionals where you can do that, or you can be a professional and do that. Right here, you playing football. And frankly, we don't race cars on Georgia highways. And Kirby Smart is very much on it as much as a head coach can be, right? I think as Georgia football continues to take on this problem, and until we see an absence of these things, we're going to talk about it. So the quote that Kirby Smart gave in March when he was talking about another player like Nitro Tuggle, who was dismissed from the program. As far as the process, we followed it. It's not been several months. It's been several years in terms of defensive driving courses, having players ride and learning how to drive, just like my 2 kids with a driver's service. And he mentioned a man, not by name, who's done a tremendous job with every player. So they have an individual person that is teaching them how to do this. He went on. We've had several speakers come in and we continue to educate. We're not going to stop that. It's very unfortunate that one of those young men got his driver's license within 1 month of that happening at 18 or 19 years old. It's amazing how many kids come to school without a driver's license. It's no excuse, but one of those things we will continue to educate and discipline our guys to try to correct. Now, we are in the midst of the 2025 season. Georgia, as you know, is unscathed, 3-0. They're on a bye this week. Memphis is a 7-point dog to Arkansas this week. And I'm not sure that Arkansas fans give a damn what it is that Ryan Silverfield had to say about Georgia football. I think it's more interesting that Memphis is around the way as far as you're concerned with Fayetteville. And while Memphis has got a real rivalry with, say, Ole Miss, right? That Ole Miss might turn up its nose at. I'm not sure the same thing is there for Arkansas in the way that it might say Arkansas State, which is much closer on the east side of Arkansas. Fayetteville's on the west side of Arkansas, and Little Rock's right there in the middle. I find it funny that we're still making jokes about this because it's not really that funny. So funny being strange. And it's also not how I would enter a weekly press conference by going, this is our negative, which has nothing to do with our football team and something to do with somebody else's football team. And Memphis is also getting a reputation for being dangerous, whether it's deserved or not. You walk around Memphis, you know what time it is, right? I think for Ryan Silverfield, it was a bit of levity that probably you could go in a different direction, right? You could say something like, we're not going to give ourselves negative self-talk because that's not our standard. Our standard is to build ourselves up and to build each other up. You can make it internal. You could really make it about you. And I'm not quite sure that Memphis is in a position to start doing these things where they get to start poking the bear like this, because Memphis is also, they could be a group of 5 representative in the college football playoff. Could happen, because I don't see somebody outside of Arkansas, or I should say, I don't see anybody in their conference that they shouldn't be able to beat. Now, Tulane looks really good, and we'll see, right? Navy's still Navy. And we can keep going through the American, and we could probably find 1 or 2 teams that we think are capable of winning that group of 6 slot, 5, 6, you know what time it is, group of 6 slot to play in the New Year's Six Bowl and in the college football playoff. But I wanted to do this because it's now used as a negative recruiting tactic, right? We're in a place where the negative recruiting tactics have kind of gone out the window, in as far as they don't play for championships, or you're not going to play because they're already loaded up there. With the advent of the transfer portal, and with the unprecedented movement and the unprecedented money that's being spent, there are only a few things that you can really lean on. And if you're Georgia, the thing you're going to lean on is, not only do our players get drafted each and every year, and we're up near the top every year, they get drafted by teams that win Super Bowls. Okay. Like, the idea that basically Philadelphia Eagles is Georgia light and Alabama light tells you everything you need to know about how successful those programs have been. And if you have designs on playing a long time in the NFL, you end up going to a program like Georgia, like Alabama, like LSU, like Ohio State, and you play football until you're in your now early 40s if you're a quarterback, and late 30s if you're a running back, and late 30s if you're a tight end wide receiver. Like, we're extending the football life here. And that is why they used to say going to college is not a 4-year decision, it's a 40-year decision, because some of us got to wear our alma mater no matter where we go and how we go, right? Like, TU is not good. TU sucks. They've got 1 win against Abilene Christian. They lost to New Mexico State. They could lose to a very bad Oklahoma State on Friday, but that's my alma mater. Oklahoma is where I got my grad degree, right? So that's also an alma mater for me, not in the traditional sense, but I grew up, as many people know, an Oklahoma fan. Went to TU because, well, we're not going to get into that. Anyway, I'm from Tulsa, so it matters to me what Golden Hurricane are going to do. And they got to play a team like Memphis, and that's always going to suck. Like, the idea that Memphis is still in the group of 6 is wild, because Memphis wants to be a Power 4 school, and they saw what SMU was able to do and say, we can do that right now. And the Big 12 says, nah, it ain't worth it to us. We don't care how much money you're bringing in. It's not worth it to us to bring you into our environment. So Memphis is sticking with the American for now, but they flirt with the Pac-12. I think when it's all said and done, Memphis should be an independent. I think that if they're not going to make a place for you at the table, you make your own place. Now, that means you're going to come up with your own broadcast deals, and you're going to come up with your own schedule. And that's difficult if you say the Pac-2 right now with Oregon State, Washington State, you play all kinds all over, but the games aren't necessarily like Notre Dame's, where you're barnstorming everywhere you go and you're playing the kind of teams everybody wants to see you play, like A&M, for instance, like Clemson or USC, and you'll put Ohio State on the schedule, right? Memphis would have to work to that. But if your game is, we're going to make a lot of noise until such a time as you acknowledge us, talking about Georgia ain't a bad way to go.